Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Frog Pond. Sorry, that might have been a bit loud, a little bit close to the mic there. Anyways, welcome for another good old video. Today we are going to be talking about how to essentially roster review yourself. And I am joined today by a very special guest, great friend, a man who needs no introductions, but we will introduce him anyways. And I probably can't play this music anyways, so I'll just go ahead and do a dramatic representation. Brr, 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 brr. That was horrible. Boom, 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 boom. Anyways,
Beautiful.
we got Beaver here. Great guy. I mean, go ahead and talk about yourself a little bit. I'm sure they want to hear about it. So
Oh, you said I didn't need any introduction, so we'll just leave that at that. No.
that's why I said we do an introduction anyways. Oh, and I don't have music playing. It is now. It's
Sad.
fine.
How dare you? I need my dramatic music while I talk about my channel.
Don't worry, there's very dramatic music now.
Oh, perfect, perfect. I'm a rabid beaver, the supreme overlord of the beaver dam. I do SWGOH videos trying to help people out learn the game, do guides for GL events, as well as just stream my GACs and try to have a damn good time. So, that's basically me.
Yeah, great guy. We love Beaver here. I mean, I'll go ahead and link his channel in the description. I'm sure it's going to help him out so much, and I have enough pull here to help him out totally. But, just
Yeah,
for good
I want to
measure.
give I want to give a big shout out to Swag for supporting those smaller streamers like myself. It really
Exactly.
helps me out.
Yeah, we really got to just throw around the help around here. We kind of on the frog pond. So, anyways, let's go
Oh,
ahead and get jumping in, jumping in like a frog. That is something I came up with on the fly. Eh,
I
The
mean,
puns
frogs do
just
flies
keep
as well.
the puns just keep coming, and I'm not even trying here. Oh boy. Anyways, so first up with kind of determining your own way to roster review yourself is come up with your farming priority. Essentially, first look at, do you have your first GL? Do you have your first GL ship? That type of stuff. And a little caveat, 99.9% of the time, Executor is going to be your first GL ship. Just plain and simple. It's really good.
Yeah, that's literally the first thing I look at every time I go to do a roster review is like I look at the top of the roster and I'm looking for the Relic 8 Piet and I'm looking for a GL of any type, and that is like the first thing I look for 100% of the time. It's like if you don't have those two things, you're missing a crystal income, you're missing, viability in so many game modes, and so that's really the first thing you should be looking at.
Absolutely. And especially with ships, you're missing out on a lot of Fleet Arena income. You're missing out on a full wall in Grand Arena. So just make sure that you are farming ships. Don't neglect that. Very, very important thing there. And then how to determine your first Galactic Legend. I mean, it's not that difficult. Just look at what Lightspeed bundles you have, basically. If you don't have any Lightspeed bundles, just go for Jabba.
Yeah. Jabba should be your second GL, your first GL, your next GL, whatever it might be. Essentially, if you've got, if you're wondering where you're going next, Jabba is one of the best bang for buck for any of the GLs. So if you're looking for your first GL and you didn't buy any Lightspeed bundles, go get him. But like, yeah, if you have Lightspeed bundles, just a GL into your roster first before you consider Jabba.
Yeah, Smuggler's Run 2 is just fantastic. It's so much value on your account.
It truly is. I'm loving it. I've only had him for a little bit now, and it's been life changing to my account. It's
I
so
bet. And especially with the new being able to sim the Smuggler's Run 2, I can
Dude,
only
I'm so
imagine.
glad I don't have to play through it. It's great.
The horror stories.
Oh yeah. But if you're not one of those people who has a Lightspeed bundle, or you finish your Lightspeed bundles and you're wondering where you should go next, this is where we're gonna kind of jump in and talk a bit about what to figure out and what you need to do to review your roster and see where you need to go next. And the big step at the beginning is also really simple. It's take a look at your account, check what your bottlenecks are. This is very vital. And so, like, for instance, if you're having a bottleneck on mods, consider Java, that type of thing. So, like, by basing your idea around, hey, what do I currently have? and like what am I close to, you basically can figure out where you should go next. So take a look at your account, what you currently have relicked up, what you currently have worked on, what you currently have Zetas on, or just legendaries that you've unlocked that you haven't touched. So take a look at everything that you have in your account, take a look at all your bottlenecks, and then you can jump into, looking what you're close to, because that's the next step, is you need to know what you are actually close to.
Yeah, and I mean, all roads seem to lead to Java anyways, but just check what characters you've farmed, what are some of the requirements, like what is the gear requirements, what are the relic requirements for some of these galactic legends, or just generally big farms that you're going for, and determine what's going to be the cheapest option for you, and that's usually a good place to start.
Yeah, I do think we need to make sure that you are also factoring in the meta, because like your closest GL could be Lord Vader, and I'm never going to suggest Lord Vader. So you do need to keep an eye about like what's important in the game, what's meta. Is it going to help you actually going for that? Because like, hey, maybe Jabba's a little bit farther for you than Leia, but it's going to give you a little bit more viability, and it's not too far out of the realm of possibility because you already have like a Jedi Master Luke. So taking a look at what's meta and what's important, I think, is fairly vital to just making sure that you're not farming something that's just going to be
kind of more so irrelevant in your account. And then next up, make sure when you choose a farm, make sure that you absolutely stick to that farm. Don't just chase new shiny things. I mean, you can if you want a little bit, but make sure that that's the farm you're going for. If you're going for GL Ahsoka, make sure that you stay in GL Ahsoka. Don't just jump around farms. It's going to end up leading you to a lot of not great places and a lot of unbuilt teams, unbuilt characters, and just a generally underdeveloped roster.
Yeah, I had a buddy who played for a long time before I even started playing, and played through like the beginning of GLs coming out and up until like the Lord Vader area, JMK and Lord Vader when they came out, and he just had like a little bit farmed of each major project because he kept trying to chase the meta and just couldn't get to it in time. But then he'd go, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, and he eventually just quit. And so now, he'll come back to his roster eventually, hopefully, but we don't want you losing sight of, what matters and having a damn good time playing Galaxy of Heroes. So stick with your farm. It's very important.
Exactly. It's also great to point out that it's going to severely impact your fun aspect of the game, because you're going to have an underdeveloped roster. You're going to struggle in Grand Arena. You're going to struggle in Conquest and all these other events. And speaking of struggling in Grand Arena, once again, it is very, very important to farm ships. Make sure that you are farming ships, even if it's like going for Malevolence early on, or just any of the guild event ships, which should be your very first thing you use your Get 2 on. Make sure that you're getting those ships done, but don't neglect ships. You get a bunch of crystals from Fleet Arena. You can get up to 400 if you're the top. Make sure that if you're going for Executor, you're farming Punishing One, that type of thing. And ships are an entire wall in Grand Arena, so you're going to be missing out on a entire wall if you don't have a couple decent fleets to put on defense, and you're going to miss out on banners on attack.
Not to mention the fact that, your crystal income daily from Fleet Arena is tied to that, and free crystals is more important than basically anything else in the game.
It's true. So. It's true. And you'll get crystals for climbing in GAC as well, so it's just a 2 wins whatever. I don't have any good analogy
did you watch,
here.
Did you ever watch AP Gains?
Yes, I did. I watched a bit of AP back in the day. Not quite my type of channel.
He used to do this. I mean, it's not for everyone, but he used to do this stupid thing. I think it's stupid personally, but the fact that you could do it was ridiculous, and it still can be done today, which is really stupid.
His only Executor wall. I remember that.
He got all 3 meta fleets, pushed for them way earlier than he should have, but because of that, could throw every single fleet on defense, and then just fight his way up to Kyber and stay in Kyber, and you leave an empty defense.
But he would win because he just had so much stuff on offense that he could just go in and full clear his opponents.
Yeah, and his opponents couldn't full clear him because they didn't have an answer to all 3 meta fleets.
Yeah, so, I remember that. It's honestly still viable, though.
It is. Like, you get like a Leviathan Executor and Profanity, and it's like the only time that I struggle against defenses in Kyber.
I know, especially with the TIE Dagger buff. Oh my gosh. It makes
Fleet meta
levies so nuts.
Please get fixed.
For real. Please. We need Trench's ship. We need Gas's ship. please, just bring him in.
Yeah. Oh, a profundity lifter. Please.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Profundity has been just crapped on in the meta for so long.
But we've talked about getting your farming priority done. Farming priority is very important and making sure that you pay attention to your ships. But there's a lot of things that you're going to farm out there that'll only give you part of what you need. On your road to Malik, you're only going to build 3 of the characters that you need for Sith Empire. You can argue 4, but HK is non-existent.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
More often,
so,
more often
yeah,
you want to use
so-
Marauder or Set.
Yeah, he just falls off. He can't be used with Malgus. It's just not great. And so you'll have these teams where, you'll have 2 open slots that you need to fill in. So filling in holes is vitally important. So make sure you're doing that. I'm currently in the middle of this with my free-to-play account. I went for Afra, and Afra is my first farm because my members get to choose where we go with that account. And so I'm in the middle of building out my Sonastaros team and filling in that hole because you just get Sonastaros, which is the leader of the team.
Yeah.
You don't get a full team. And so making sure you're building out these holes, making Imperial troopers out of your executor farm, that type of thing. It's so important.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly where I am with my main account. I really need to relic up, like, my Treya. I really need to relic up my Malik. Just a bunch of these stuff that's kind of been left in the dust because I've been essentially just making content for this account, and it's been hurting a bit. But, yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a break from farming new stuff and just go for those holes. It's very important. Helps your roster be more rounded out, develop more counters for GAC, more teams to put on defense. It's just really good.
Yeah.
And then speaking...
Yeah, going along those same lines. Yep, it's kind of on the same boat as, those in-between farms.
Yeah, absolutely. Just making sure you have enough teams for Grand Arena. Just take a break. Farm a couple teams. Go get Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon. Go get, if you don't have a Maul team finished up and you got Maul, go get Maul. Just something fun. It's going to bring you some fun to the game and an extra team that you can throw on offense.
Yeah, go do a passion project, dude.
Exactly.
Go. There's nothing wrong with a little pee-pee. Go have a passion project. It'll make you happy, and it'll be a good addition to your account in between the major farms. And going from major farm to major farm can be really rough. So
yeah. It also definitely helps you recoup a lot of the relic materials that you've used for these big farms. Like right now, I'm absolutely suffering in the relic material department because GL Ahsoka is a hungry mistress. My goodness. 3 relic 9s, just, absolutely starved for anything in terms of relics. It'll be nice to take a little bit of a step back and, rebuild Zetas, rebuild relic mats, and that's what you do it for.
Yeah, like a lot of us are stuck in a Zeta crunch due to lightspeed bundles. And like that's where I'm at right now. And so like I'm farming up my characters for my Marauder to go with my negotiator fleet, and that allows me to basically just save up Zetas and start putting it into some of those teams that I just haven't had the time to work on. Like, the Night Sisters and that type of stuff where I'm like, I have this in my roster. I just can't afford to put work into it. But now I can because I'm taking the time to do some in-between farms. So.
Yeah. I would know nothing about Zeta count, not me and my 220 Zetas. I'm starved. I mean, it's all for GL Ahsoka. The second I unlock her, it's all going to be gone.
Because you got so 6 for GL Ahsoka, plus you have, 3 for Ezra, and I think you were missing Padawan Sabine as well, right?
Yeah, and I need Hera's as well, the one with Fracture.
Yeah, so, like, it's... As much as it sounds like you have tons.
Like, they're going to be gone in a day.
Finish a major project. Yeah.
Anyways, last little step we've got here is modding. Make sure that your roster is looking neat for modding. Make sure that you have all of your characters developed. It's obviously, modding is a crunch. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. Jabba can help alleviate it. It's pretty great for that. But I suppose. But make sure that you're working on one character at a time is what I recommend. And make sure that you're also working on a character that you're using frequently. And also make sure that you are working on a character that you want to be fast. Make sure that you meet all 3 of those requirements for the individual character that you go for. Great examples of characters that are highly used and need a lot of speed is like Admiral Piet, Moff Gideon, Darth Revan. Basically characters that can either control turn meter on the enemy side or bring in a lot of turn meter for your side. I mean, Scout Trooper's another great example of that. He controls the enemy's turn meter by putting on stagger and daze and stuff. Or Admiral Piet, who just uses buffs and stuff to pump your allies' turn meter. But focus on those type of characters first. Make sure that they are at least 300 speed or above, and several even faster than that. 320 to 330 range is usually a good range for characters like Revan, Piet, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Those mods are literally like, it'll kill you if you don't do mods. 50% of the viability of your characters is modding, and like even just one fast character can turn a crap team into an amazing team. You could have no speed on any of an Emperor Palpatine Mara Jade team, but as long as Mara Jade's fast, she'll push the whole team into basically steamrolling the opponent's team. So
yeah,
getting those key characters fast is vital.
Resistance Hero Finn, same boat with that Zori team. When he's fast, he passes a turn over to Zori, and all of a sudden the chaos begins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, next up, we're going to go ahead and show a couple of our my viewers' rosters up on here and just sort of go through the process real quick. We've already taken a look ahead of time, so it's not going to be like a full roster review, but just things that we'd point out, farms that we'd go for, that type of deal. So first up, we have Faith, who's mostly on the Discord server. Whoa, that is a full Streamlab link. That won't work by the time that you watch this video, so I might just edit that out.
Hurry.
It is for a collab cam that I am deactivating after this. So, I mean, you can try it. I doubt it'll lead you anywhere, but anyways, first up, we've got Faith. Like I said, member of our Discord server, also started making content by herself. So that's cool. Anyways, so just going through the roster real quick. A couple things we noticed. Obviously, there's a lot of Lightspeed bundles on here, which is a fairly common thing. It's an early enough game roster. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of places to go, and sort of just trying to narrow down where to go for. So
yeah, and going through our farming priority list, you know, we have do you have your first GL ship? You take into account of what they have and what their bottlenecks are, check what you're close to, take a look at the meta and what's important, and choose a farm and stick with it. Now, do they have their first GL ship and their first GL?
No, but very close to Executor.
Heck yeah. So it looks like they're on the right path. They're also working towards Rey right now as their first GL, it looks like. And so they have the Gear 12 JTR, the Gear 12 BB-8. And so they're working their way towards their first GL. So it looks like they're on the right path already with that first step. And then at this point, you kind of take a look at, you know, what you're close to. So you take a look at what you got, and so they have the stuff to go for like a Lord Vader if they really wanted to. Probably not the best option.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, but then they have the stuff for SLKR. They also have the Secrets and Shadows Lightspeed bundle. And so they have a foot in the door into the Rebel Trinities, especially Jedi Master Luke in that direction.
Yes.
And so, you know, with this account, you could either go for SLKR because it's the closest, or you could end up going for JML and start heading towards that Jabba because you want to make sure that's sooner rather than later when we're looking at the meta and what's important. So you kind of have two options. One's going to take a little bit longer, but be a little bit more helpful, going for, you know, JML and it's Jabba, or you could go for SLKR, still going to get you another GL and do some good stuff. So
yeah. I'd say my final take, so I say we give a final take on this, on where we think that the farming path should go. And my first step after, you know, going through our little check boxes, I'd say number one priority is go ahead and finish up Executor. After that, go for Rey. Get those two knocked out, and then go for SLKR.
Absolutely.
Then Jabba is what I would say after that.
Yeah. Heading towards that Rebel Trinity is just vitally important. So get your first GL in here, get your Executor in here, and then after that, it's kind of open to you. Let's get that, you know, the things you're close to, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and jump into that Rebel Trinity.
Yeah, and a great side project to do in between some of the big farms is the Finn team. Make sure you get the Zeta on Finn's lead and get Zori up and running, and then pretty much good to go from there. That's a very easy team that you can finish and shouldn't take too much effort, and just finish a couple side projects in between.
Yeah. And speaking of our little list, mods. You can see here they have they have everything they need to get Afra. They bought the Afra Lightspeed bundle, but the Afra event requires like over 300 speed to
Yes.
be able to do it. And so
Hondo needs
like
to be very, very fast.
Yup, and so working on mods is going to be vitally important for any Lightspeed bundle account, but especially when you have the Afro Lightspeed bundle, you're going to need a little bit more oomph into your roster. So working towards mods, definitely, I would suggest for a roster like this, throwing some refreshes into mod energy.
Yeah, and make sure you're farming, like in BT1's case, make sure you're farming some offense mods. In Trip's case, make sure you're farming some speed mods and just stuff of that nature. Make sure to check either, I've got plenty of like minute mod videos on a lot of these characters that you can check out, or just check out SWGOH. We tend to agree on most things. There are a couple things that we don't agree with, though they tend to come around to my side when, stuff develops. But anyways,
Fair enough.
make sure that you are 100% working on mods, and that's why I also say that Jabba would be a good move on this roster, as it's just going to make mod farming just that much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up, we'll do one more quick little pseudo roster review here. And throw in the ally code. This is Ace of Spades, just frequent channel viewer, great guy. He's been on my channel once or twice. One of Nooch's mods. He hangs out around the SWGOH community. But so first step, do we have our first GL? Do we have our first GL ship? The answer is yes. Got 4 GLs and an executor. Next step is going through what are you close to? If you want to take that away.
I mean, yeah, there's there's a lot here in here because lots of Lightspeed bundles, lots of different farms in here and things you can go for. Honestly, if I were looking at this and kind of just looking at what they're close to, obviously the Rebel Trinity is where I would stay for the most part because it's all really close and it's all really good for your account. So things like the Profundity and the Leia are things that they're very close to that I'd like to see. But honestly, I think this is one of those cases where filling in holes, doing some in-between farms might be very much warranted. We got like a, Gear 11 Dark Trooper down here. You have a 2 Zeta Zori Bliss, a Marinette Gear 12 with her Zetas. And so I think some filling in holes is a little bit more warranted than jumping into their next farm immediately.
Mm-hmm.
As I kind of take a look at what they're close to, you kind of see these little holes that they need to fill. So
yeah. Stuff like Seer Junda as well, Cal Kestis getting ready for Zepho.
Mm-hmm.
All great ideas. And then next up, look at, kind of did a what you're close to analysis. Leia, probably a great option. Profundity, probably a great option. Hoping it gets a lifter soon. Please, CG, here are please.
Yeah. It's going to happen within the next 6 months, I'm sure. But,
yeah,
like, it's just, you can't have a meta fleet and have it be not good.
Yeah, and you can basically only take it on offense at this point because it is getting beat by most fleets. Like Malevolence is a fantastic budget counter for the Profundity, and just it gets absolutely steamrolled by Executor. It gets steamrolled by Leviathan on defense. Yeah, it's struggling a little bit. Anyways, meta checkbox. Leia, definitely part of the meta. Profundity, maybe not as much, but it is still a good fleet to have. You can still pull off some counters with it when you have it on
Especially,
offense.
yeah, bringing it on offense, it allows you to, in a pinch, you can take out a Leviathan with it. You can take out basically any fleet. And honestly, it probably has the highest RNG rate for all of its counters on defense, except for Metafleet. So, like, if they bring a Metafleet, sure, they're going to beat it. But, like, if they don't, like, the Malevolence counter, I have about a 50%
yeah,
rate
it's
with it. Like,
it's rickety. I think on paper, it's like a 60% counter rate. It's not the prettiest.
Yeah, and even, like, doing the Chimera counters also feels like 60 to 70%.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Finalizer versus Executor way back when, as much as they want to say it's like a 60% win rate, I won that counter 97% of the time.
Yeah.
But like those other counters are like ugh.
it was just a very technical counter with the
Mm-hmm.
finalizer. Like, you either knew what you were doing and countered it, or didn't and didn't counter it. Sometimes you got really unlucky, which happens. RNG is a real thing in this game, but
Yeah.
usually it was
But
a fairly reliable counter.
But with Profundity, it just feels like you're rolling the dice every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ult is, if they hit ult, it's basically game over anyways.
Yeah, you've lost at that point. The ult, it doesn't look spectacular, but dang, it hurts.
Yeah, it drains your ships so fast. And as for, checking out ships, we got a little bit of a negotiator going. We got a Malevolence going. And you got some decent ships here. It's nothing too crazy, but nothing too bad. Profundity still checks that box.
Yeah, and like this person's not, they're not sleeping on fleets. You can tell they have their tanks for their different fleets. That's the first thing I always look at whenever I look at someone's fleets to see if they're doing good, is if they've neglected their tanks. Because Rebel Y-wing nowadays, there was the Lightspeed bundle, so I see that a lot. But like BTLB, Hyena Bomber, Star Fortress, all of these tanks are like, if the people aren't working on fleets, it's blatantly obvious because they don't have tanks. And without a tank, a fleet doesn't exist.
It's absolutely true. The tanks are so strong on fleets. Like, Hyena Bomber at 7 stars is a nightmare to work through. BTLB can be quite the nightmare in a Marauder lineup, which, I mean, we don't have Marauder quite going on here yet, which is not a bad step to go. Don't neglect the Marauder, especially. It is a very strong ship. Sure, it does require a lot of Chirotechs to get up and running, but it is very worth your while to get up and running, I promise.
That's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah. It's so good. We love the Marauder. Glad they didn't nerf it. And then, that pretty much goes through all of it except for checking that little mod box here. Let's see how fast. Yeah. Oh, that's maybe a little slow. 320 on the Mara Jade.
I always try for 330, and I mean, that being his fastest for an 8 million account does look like it's lagging just a bit for overall speed mods.
Yeah, the depth is a little bit less than I would like as well. So trying to get some of the other characters like Commander Luke Skywalker, Resistance Hero Finn, General Hux, just a couple of these characters that should probably be fast up to the 300 speed range is probably a good idea to go for on the modding aspect, just kind of widening out the mods instead of tightening them out.
Also this is just kind of a side note just for this person, if he actually watches this video, which he should. He better. Qui-Gon, switch him to offense mods. The speed mods are what's important. No, regular Qui-Gon Jinn, not Master Qui-Gon.
I was like, wait, Master Qui-Gon, no, he wants speed.
Yeah, no. So regular Qui-Gon Jinn. If you have Anakin on the team, obviously you want Anakin to have a lot of speed on him because it turns speed into offense. But Qui-Gon himself, he doesn't actually do that for himself, but he does give his offense to his allies. And so if you can boost his offense, it's more important than boosting his speed, unlike the rest of his team that you want to boost the speed.
Yes, he gives them 30 times their speed, whereas he gives them his offense.
Yep. So build him for offense. It's just a little thing I noticed because I was like, he seems quite high in the speed list, and then I looked at speed mods. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'd switch those to offense. But yeah, overall quality of mods I think could just use some work, and a lot of that comes down to doing some refreshes and working on the depth. Which when it comes to Lightspeed bundles, a lot of us are missing that depth. And
absolutely,
so those refreshes are vital.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything more to add here. I think it's been a great video. Lots of good information here. Anything you'd like to add before we go ahead and depart?
I swear if I see another Gear 12 Savage with his Omicron on, I'm going to do unspeakable things.
Yes, farm your Savage, 100%. I mean, you probably wouldn't be proud of my Savage, but hey.
Please tell me he's at least Relic.
He's at least Relic, alright? He's not got 6 dot mods, but he's Relic 1, but it's not Gear 12, I promise. It's a little better.
It's a little better. It still hurts, but it's a little better.
Okay, he's high on my list of things that I will be farming when I get the time to after Ahsoka.
Fair, yeah. I feel like a lot of people are kind of in that area of, you get Jabba the Hutt and then you take a break and you kind of, do a whole bunch of these side projects. You have a Savage sitting there at year 12, finish him. You have, like we were looking at this other guy's account recently. He has like a Dark Trooper that he hasn't finished. He has like all this stuff at the bottom of his roster that's like, okay, you have a good basis of a roster, take a break, take a little bit, and then move on to what you're close to and what's meta.
Exactly. It's just going to do absolute wonders for your roster, I promise.
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff. Thank you for jumping on, Beaver. Always love having you. Enjoy
it's great to be here in the Frog Pond, right?
Yep, we're the Frog Pond, you're the Beaver Dam, pretty close together, in the same general vicinity. Not enough
what was your...
Not enough animal-themed creators out here. There's only like 2.
Right? We are the ultimate ones, though.
Exactly.
What is your end of video thing? It's great to be in the Empire. Wait. No, that's the wrong person.
I definitely don't have a signature ending card yet, so I just kind of say thanks everybody for jumping in the Frog Pond today, and see you guys in the next one.